And away we go. Alright then, let's see what me, Eric, or Risk have sent into the podcast group chat to have a look at, observe the world as it is, and whatever the heck is going on these days. And there's nothing new since the last time I recorded something. Okay then, so with all that being said, let's get right into the news. Cumbria's best and worst GP practices according to patients in NHS England survey. Let's see how this goes. West Mersey surgery located in Kingsland Road was the best rated in the Colchester area, with 91% of patients describing their overall experience as good. The survey carried out by the NHS from January 2nd to April 3rd gathers patient feedback through online and postal questionnaires, offering practice-level insights across England. Colchester Medical Practice was the second highest-rated surgery in the area, with 87% of patients reporting a good experience. Mill Road Surgery followed in third place, with 84%. Tollgate Health Centre in Stanway received the lowest rating in Colchester, with 64% of patients describing their experience as good. The annual survey covers topics such as appointment booking, access to online services, and out-of-hours care. Here is the full list of the city's practices with their results in order of highest to lowest percentage of patients rating their overall experience as good. So, West Mersey Surgery, 91%, Colchester Medical Practice, 87%, Mill Road Surgery, 84%, East Hill Surgery, 83%, Tiptree Medical Centre, 81%. The Ardleigh Surgery, 77%, is the Bluebell Surgery. Winstree Medical Practice, 76%. Turner Road Surgery, 75%. Creffield Medical Group, 74%. Weavenhoe Surgery, 73%. Highwood Surgery, 70%. Ambrose Avenue Group Practice, 66%. St Abbeyfield Medical Centre and Roe Head Surgery. And then finally, Tollgate Health Centre at 64%. Nationally, 73% of patients rated their most recent GP experience as good, up from 67% in 2024 and 70% in 2025. James Murray, Health Secretary, said the latest GP survey, patient survey, shows we're making real progress to improve the front door of the NHS, with almost 77% of patients reporting a good experience, more than the last 2 years. Not bad. It's not going to take away all the problems that exist today. At least there is good progress coming out of that. That is a good start. EU imposes anti-dumping duties on Chinese tires. The European Union is applying tariffs of up to 45.3% on tires imported from China, starting this Wednesday, after determining that they create unfair competition for European manufacturers due to their low prices. These tariffs will specifically affect new rubber tires for passenger cars, buses, and trucks. The European Commission has taken this decision following an anti-dumping investigation, opened in May 2025 after a complaint filed the previous month by the Coalition Against Unfair Tyre Imports, representing the European Union's tyre industry. The complaint included evidence of unfair competition from these Chinese imports and harm they caused to EU manufacturing. The Commission, which focused its analysis on the 2024 fiscal year, considers that the dumped imports, the sale of large volumes of goods in a foreign country at prices below the cost of domestic production, have caused significant harm to EU industry. During that period, Chinese imports to the EU increased by more than 35 million units, allowing Chinese exporters to increase their market share from 18% to 28%, while the EU industry saw its share decrease from 60% to 53%. The combined pressure on volume and prices exerted on the union industry by the growing volume of low-priced imports from China during the period under review prevented the union industry from benefiting from the growth in consumption within the union. Consequently, Chinese exporting producers gained market share at the expense of the union industry. EFE quoted EU sources as saying. Furthermore, because Chinese imports were systematically priced lower than EU industry prices, the latter was unable to raise its price in line with rising production costs. The institution explains. According to its analysis, Chinese tire prices were on average 90% underpriced compared to those of the EU industry, a gap that approaches 35% for the cheapest tires, which make up 9 out of 10 imports. Honestly, I don't blame the EU for trying to prioritize their own domestic production. Because if you're importing products from another country, you're not just cutting out the job opportunities within your own nations or communities, you're also cutting out opportunities to be self-reliant on the production of these produce to be used by consumers, and also cutting out any possibility of generating disposable revenue or profits from exporting said products to other countries, like what China is doing right now. In this day and age, it's very hard to challenge against China, given how much supply of anything they produce is at levels beyond our own comprehension. And they're going to keep on going. This is only the start of what could be the dominance of mainland China, the People's Republic of China. Now, I know for sure there are people that I know in life that don't like China as it stands right now. And fair enough, I don't blame them in the slightest. Yet they are still going to do this. They're going to dominate in the trade sector. China will continue to make money out of exporting goods and services to other countries. And of course, the EU will do whatever they can to ensure that their local industries and domestic products dominate not just within the EU, they also expand to other countries around the world. There has to be options, no matter the cost and no matter the consequences. By allowing people to choose what services they get from which countries they're based in, only then we get an understanding of what people's experiences are from using such goods and services, which are primarily based in said country in question. Gold rings around 2,000 years old, found during dig at Thailand archeological site. Archaeologists in Thailand uncovered two ancient gold rings at the Don Yai Thong site in Phetchaburi province, with artifacts dating back between 1900 and 2100 years found alongside human remains during ongoing excavation. Located around about 130 kilometers southwest of Bangkok, the site dates to the Iron Age, established around 1500 and 2500 years ago, and was discovered earlier this year after residents found ancient bronze drums in a rice field. Experts identified an inscription on one ring as Pusara Kitasa, meaning the one protected by Pushya, suggesting the owner was a merchant from the Vaishyas caste with early commercial links between Indian, and Southeast Asian communities. The Fine Arts Department moved to the Nakhon-Kiri Museum in Ratchaburi province for preservation, while authorities accelerated excavation efforts before seasonal rains and rising groundwater damage remaining bronze objects and human remains. With excavation expected to complete in another month, the department plans to showcase the findings, which include jewelry and pottery from ceremonial burials of wealthy individuals and upper-class society members, to the public. The Southeast Asia has lots of rice fields. Fantastic. There's always going to be new discoveries, at least every month. That goes back thousands, if not hundreds of years ago. That is, the more you know, the more you know. I'd assume they are going to be worth a lot of money too, given how long ago they originate, and of course, the rarity of how much of these rings were even produced by the time of why is Sirion? By the time they were produced. We will find out eventually what happens next. Oh dear, I'm getting a headache. Western Europe records hottest June on record, EU scientists say. On Thursday, the Copernicus Climate Change Service reported that Western Europe experienced its hottest June on record, averaging a little over 69 degrees Fahrenheit, or nearly 5.5 degrees above average. Samantha Burgess, a climate expert at the European Centre for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts, said June's conditions underscored how profoundly the climate is changing, with a warming climate system, accumulating heat, and the Pacific Ocean El Niño cycle influencing global weather patterns. The heat resulted in more than 1,300 deaths across Europe, with France recording about 1,000 excess deaths, mainly in elderly residents. Wildfires in southern France burned through more than 11,000 acres as of Monday, forcing roughly 10,000 evacuations. Kirk Schickman of the World Resources Institute warned that high nighttime temperatures prevent bodily recovery, stating the body isn't able to recover sufficiently. Adaptation measures could have reduced heat-related deaths by as much as 75%. According to the World Weather Attribution Initiative, climate change is driving a new dangerous norm that would have been virtually impossible 50 years ago, with the current El Niño potentially intensifying extreme weather through spring 2027. Climate change, and intensifying heat waves coming our way. It's the same old story, the same old headlines, and at the end of the day, no matter how many projects there are to tackle the climate change issues in question, and as well as regardless of how many times people are being told that we have to do something about protecting our climate, our environment, and ensuring that the state of our Earth does not deteriorate to the point of inhabitation and survival, most of us, if not all, still stand. And I'm not saying don't listen to these stories, don't preserve and protect your environment. What I'm saying is, if you're going to tackle issues in today's world, it is important that you do not. I think people should at least understand why changes like this happen to begin with. And something that has come, I've heard from one famous influencer that man-made climate change is a load of bullcrap. Not saying that I'd agree with this guy. Then again, even if climate change is man-made, regardless of how much of the populace tries to change their habits and try to be environmentally friendly and sustainable as possible, how come are these climate change issues still happening? I don't get that. If climate change is down to the fact of our habits and we're harming the planet by using vehicles and consuming produce, specific produce, and even when there's an initiative to encourage people to try different alternatives in hopes that the carbon footprint decreases significantly, how is it that we're still talking about these climate change issues? How come the issues of climate change in regards to rising temperatures and an increase of greenhouse gases in the air is still present and is still affecting us to this day? I'm just asking questions. I'm not going against climate change activists. I'm just asking questions here. And I'm genuinely curious to why are we still talking about these issues when the solutions, as been described by the experts of climate change, is down to human habits. And even when a lot of us make an effort to change the way of life in hopes that the issues regarding climate change does go down, we're still talking about it. That's just me. Bonnie Tyler, singer of Total Eclipse of the Heart, passes away aged 75 on Thursday, July 9th, 2026. Welsh singer Bonnie Tyler, 75, passed away unexpectedly in a hospital in Faro, Portugal, following an illness she had been treated for in recent months, her family confirmed. Taylor had been hospitalized in May 2026 for emergency intestinal surgery and was placed in a medical-induced coma, remaining in intensive care while her medical team monitored her recovery. Renowned for her distinctive, gravelly voice, Taylor achieved global stardom in 1983 with Total Eclipse of the Heart, a power ballad that has since surpassed 1 billion streams on Spotify. representatives are cancelling and postponing all remaining summer shows, including a scheduled homecoming performance at Cardiff's Utilita Arena, ending a nearly 50-year touring career. Awarded an MBE in 2023 for her services to music, Taylor leaves a legacy defined by 18 studio albums and a career spanning nearly 5 decades. Firstly and foremost, rest in peace, Bonnie Tyler. I send my condolences to her friends and family. She has lived a good life, and she has made quite the impact with her music. And for the 2013 Eurovision Song Contest, which some people might know, it's quite unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to add to this. Well, she made quite a difference in music. And of course, she will be missed heavily by her friends, her family, and all of her fans. Oh yes. Italian farmer jailed for 16 years for abandoning injured Indian worker. On Wednesday, July 8th, Italian farmer Antonello Lavato was sentenced to 16 years in jail for abandoning Satnam Singh, a 31-year-old Indian worker who died after a severe farm accident near Rome. In June 2024, Singh suffered a severed arm and crushed legs. While a machine accident tore through her body, Lovato abandoned him and his wife by the roadside without medical help instead of seeking hospital care. The Latina Republic Prosecutor's Office stated Singh died of severe hemorrhaging and would very likely have been saved had he received prompt medical attention, citing the forensic report. Thousands of Indian farm workers demonstrated in Latina, demanding justice and calling for an end to what they described as slavery in the Italian agricultural sector. Italian agriculture employs around 240,000 seasonal workers, yet the Placido Risotto Observatory reports that workplace inspections remain rare, exposing systemic vulnerabilities across the sector. Goodness me. So you have a worker on your farm that is apparently is a foreigner from another country outside of Europe. And knowing the danger that this worker is in, whoever is the employer on the farm doesn't do anything about it. That is awful. Ridiculous. Absolutely sickening. How far is too far for situations like this? One more thing I will add is rest in peace to the Indian worker working on a farm in Italy. I send my condolences to their friends and family. Whatever happens next with this story, hopefully punishment will be brought upon and the farmer in question will pay heavily for the price of the life of a foreign worker. This is not to say that we shouldn't bring foreigners into other countries. If anyone's going to bring foreigners into any country, you should at least give them the opportunity to find opportunities where the skills would be most beneficial to the local community and the economy. And yeah, I'm not sure why I was thinking of something else. I think that's all there is to it in terms of bringing foreigners to countries. Otherwise, can't believe it, man. Now, of course, the Italian farmer has now been jailed for 16 years. It's unfortunate that this even happened at all in the first place. La Guaria earthquake survivors use beaches for bathing amid water shortages. On Wednesday, earthquake survivors in La Guaria, Venezuela, lined up for aid boxes from the United States, while families improvised showers and toilets on beaches due to severe water shortages. Back-to-back earthquakes on June 24th killed 3,685 people and left about 18,000 homeless, with 190 buildings collapsed and 856 damaged. Venezuelan officials inside the makeshift Camp Dobbs Ciudad Bendita. Beatriz Ochoa of the Norwegian Refugee Council warned that poor sanitation risks disease spread, saying, "I have seen families doing everything they can to maintain dignity." Acting President Delcy Rodriguez announced plans to build new earthquake-resistant homes and cities, and requested release of Venezuelan gold reserves from the Bank of England to fund reconstruction. The United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction estimates direct physical damage at around $37 billion. As UN Relief Chief Tom Fletcher met survivors Wednesday to assess humanitarian needs for 1.3 million Venezuelans. So sorry to hear about the Venezuelans in the earthquake. Honestly, I didn't even think earthquakes even happened in Venezuela. If they even happened at all, consistently, frequently, on a consistent basis. I hope the Venezuelans are okay. They are getting the shelter. They get the aid they are needing. And of course, that like being said with Delcy Rodriguez, that the nation prepares for future scenarios in the future. Dang, I'm honestly I am baffled that that there's even earthquakes in Venezuela to begin with. Now, not saying that earthquakes in Venezuela don't happen. I just don't hear about earthquakes in Venezuela quite often, if it has ever happened at all. I know Chile is world widely known for being faced with one of the strongest earthquake magnitudes that the world has ever seen, and likewise with Japan, because the two nations are sitting along the Ring of Fire. So it's not easy living in those countries, putting up with earthquakes, especially if you don't have the infrastructure to withstand such seismic activity. Yeah. And that is it for the episode.